We're rolling. So welcome to Sunday morning yoga church. Still in the cold gray month of January. We are on the tail end of vata season and moving towards the start of kapha season. So one thing that vata and kapha share is that of being cold. So we are this morning going to warm up through the hips and the hip joints. We're going to begin on the floor. I'd like you to have a block and a strap nearby if you have access to that. And come down onto your back, please. Once you get down onto your mat, you can stretch your legs down long, the length of the mat. Maybe take your arms up overhead. Give yourself a deep breath and a big stretch. Lengthening through both sides of your bod. Right arm, right leg. Left arm, left leg. And then stretching evenly through both arms, both legs, right and left sides of the body. Great. And bring your arms down to your sides. Actually place one hand on your low ribs, one hand on your belly. And give yourself 5 full breaths. If you're comfortable closing your eyes, go for it. And just settle into your body. Notice the rise and fall of your abdomen as you inhale and exhale. Notice how and where the cushion of the mat supports you underneath you. And check in with your breath. Without manipulating it, just notice if you favor the inhale or the exhale. Observe the length and the duration of your breath. And then move up into your mind as though you were turning on the weather channel, accessing the manomaya kosha. What's happening upstairs? What's the chatter like? What's the vibe this morning? And then bend your knees, please. You can bring your arms out by your sides, a comfortable distance from your body, and set your feet, about 6 inches from one another. We're going to do supine cat-cow. So again, without necessarily influencing or manipulating your breath, but just keeping it full. As you inhale, you'll arch your lower back from the floor, keeping your butt down. So it's just a stretch through the anterior spine. And as you exhale, round your lower back into the floor, massaging each lumbar vertebrae into the mat. And keep going. We'll do this 4, 5, or 6 more times. Go at your pace. The movement will initiate with the breath, definitely. And then from a physical perspective, start the movement from your tailbone, both on the inhale and the exhale. Hi, Blake. And as you undulate your spine from your coccyx, or coccix, as you undulate your spine from your tailbone all the way up, notice if there are any sticky spots, icky spots, tight spots. See if the movement manages to make its way up to the cervical spine. Maybe the chin drops down as you breathe in and tilts up slightly as you breathe out. Don't force it to happen. Just notice if it's there. Let it roll. Now, after your next exhale, just bring yourself into a neutral spine position. At this point, you'll keep your knees bent. Take your feet as wide as your mat, maybe even a little wider for some windshield wipers. Take your arms out like a T, and we'll use the breath. On the inhale, the knees go to the left. So the inhale supports that extension of the spine and the lift of the right pelvis. And when you exhale, come back through center, and you're ready for the in-breath to go to the right. Great. If you want to move your head with or opposite your knees, be my guest. And keep going side to side. We'll do this 3 or 4 times. Finding the edges. Look at those tails wagging, David. That's hilarious. Carly and Blake are so happy. Finding the edges of your feet. So when you're on the instep of one foot, the outer edge of the other foot. Noticing that, keeping the toes active. And how about the next time your knees go left? Let's hang there for a couple of breaths. And you can take your right arm, stretch it up, maybe by your ear. I like to go out on the diagonal a little more. Open your right hand wide, stretch the webbing between your fingers. And press your fingernails into the floor. Maybe lift your wrist up away from the floor. Good. And let's go to the other side, relaxing your right arm, let the knees sweep up through center, and then the knees will fall over to the right. And here we go, left arm reaches up. Oh, breathing into the left rib basket. Opening the carpal tunnel, the channel of the left wrist. Good. And then relaxing left arm, knees sweep back up to center. Heel toe your feet towards one another and bring your right knee to your chest. This is where your strap is going to come into the picture. Where's my strap? So I like to loop my strap, like actually take it through the D-rings and loop it so I have a circle. Loop it however you want to do it. You can keep it loose if you want. Take the strap over the ball of your right foot and send your right heel to the ceiling. Should you prefer to take your left leg down, go for it. Should you prefer to keep your left knee bent, go for it. Good. And I'm going to have you really push up through the right heel and drop down through your tailbone. Spread your toes. Hold your strap where you need to so your right shoulder can make contact with your mat. And as we dive into the hips, notice what's happening in your jaw. Are you clenching your teeth? Is your neck or throat tight? Take your left arm out to the left, please. And you're going to take your right leg out to the right, maybe about 2/3 of the way to the floor. We're not trying to hit the mat. I want you to keep your left arm heavy, left scapula glued to the mat. And if you have your right leg straight, or left leg, sorry, if you have your left leg straight, flex that foot and bring some weight into the left thigh bone, the left femur. Really drop down. Good. Now anchor into your shoulders. press your low back into the floor, and from that place of power through your low back, bring your right leg back up to vertical. Change hands with your strap. And now you'll take your right leg over to the left. But allow the right hip to lift up off the mat. But only go so far that you can keep your right shoulder and right arm down. Good. Now, bring your awareness to your outer right hip. And imagine you could shear the outer right hip away from your right ribs. If we're just trying to find just a fraction more space between the low ribs and the rim of your pelvis. Great. Come on up. You can bring the strap into your right hand again, so you can give your left hand a bit of a break. Keep your right leg lifted. Good. Flexing both feet, active through all the toes. Great. And then release your strap. Keep your leg lifted, but you can pull the strap off of your foot, arms out like a T. And I'm going to have you on the inhale, take your right leg out to the right towards the floor. And when you exhale, pull your right leg back up to vertical. You don't have to go very far. Good, let's do that 3 more times. Inhale, float the right leg out to the right, press out through your heel. Left leg heavy, exhale back up. Great, twice more. Terrific. Good, and then pull your right knee to your chest. Circle your toes around a few times in one direction, a couple times in the other direction. Good, set your right foot to the floor, take your right leg down, pull your left knee up to your chest. Take your time on this transition, easy in the hips. Good, once you get your left knee up, if you want to rock a little bit or move your femur around in the hip socket. And then as you're ready, loop the strap around the ball of your left foot, and you know the drill. Left heel goes up. This is a sequence called Supta Prangushtasana, one of my all-time favorites. I think I say that about a lot, but I really, really do mean it about this one. This has been medicine for my lower back, to be sure. Left heel up to the ceiling, again, holding on to the strap where you can comfortably place your left shoulder on the mat. Toes are spread. Inseam of the left leg is long. Press up through your inner heel. If you care to take your right leg down the length of the mat, you are welcome to do so. If you do, the inseam of the right leg is long as well. Press forward through your inner right heel. Toggle your mandible from side to side a couple times. Take your right arm out to the right. And I want you to keep your right leg, right thigh, right half of your pelvis super heavy. Take your left leg out to the left. Good. Notice the temptation to allow the right hip to elevate a little. Anchor your low back into the floor. Draw your navel in and bring your left leg up. Change hands with your strap. Now we go in for the twist. Left arm goes out to the left and the left leg comes across your body to the right. Allow the outer left hip to lift. Good. Press your left heel forward. Press the inner left heel, especially forward. And the outer left hip, draw it away from your low ribs. Great. Come back up to vertical, please. Good. You can give your right hand a break. Take the strap in your left hand. Now release your strap, but keep your leg elevated. Arms out to the sides like a T. And here we go. 4 side leg lifts. On the inhale, left leg goes out to the left. Keep that right hip heavy. And exhale, come back up, exploring the AD adductors and the AB abductors. Inner thigh and outer thigh. 4 times, please. There will be more where this came from, I assure you. Great. After you complete your 4th round, then I'll have you bring your left knee into your chest. Good. Circle your toes a couple times in each direction. Good. And then take your left leg down the length of your mat. Let's give ourselves a big stretch again. This time, clasp your fingers together and spin your palms forward and up overhead. Press the heel of your right palm towards the wall beyond your head. And then press the heel of your left palm towards the wall beyond your head. Change the interlace of your fingers and then once more spin your palms up and over. Pressing the heels of both palms and including the mound of your index finger, the base of the knuckle. Reach away, reach away. Great. And then relax your arms. Bring your arms out to the sides again like a T and pull your knees to your chest. I'm going to have you take your legs straight up once more. It's exploring this lateral leg lift again. So arms are out to the sides like a T. What I'm going to have you do is on the inhale, float your right leg out to the right. Keep your left leg straight up. Good. And then when you exhale, take your left leg over your right leg. So you come into a twist. Good. Try not to touch the floor. And then when you inhale, take your left leg up to vertical. Slowly exhale, right leg comes up to meet it. Nice. And let's go to the other side. On the inhale, left leg out just above the floor. And then exhale, slowly float the right leg over it. Good. Now push that right heel a little farther if you can. And then inhale, right leg comes up. Oh, lovely. And exhale, left leg. Great. Let's do that one more time on each side. Right leg out to the right. Good. Push through the heel, lengthen the inseam of your leg, and then back. Yeah, left leg comes over. Good. Excellent. And then to the left. Beautiful. Good. Reach that right leg up. Great. And as you complete this little number, pull your knees back into your chest. Good. Let yourself rock and roll on your low back a bit. Well done. Ah, we're going to transition up to hands and knees. So take a good, 15, 20, 30 seconds to do this. If you want to stay on your back and rock a little more, roll over to the side and maybe just hit the pause button for a breath or two. Ultimately, coming up to hands and knees here in the next 10 seconds or so. Okay. Once you get onto your hands and your knees, we're going to warm up the wrists a bit. So starting with what I call the wrist raises. Arms are straight. I'm going to have you externally rotate your arms just a bit. So the index fingers point to the top of the sticky mat. The other fingers point off on the diagonal. And then the action is, imagine this is the floor. The action is we just peel the base of the palm, peel the wrist and the palm up off the mat. But now the arm needs to stay straight. Keep the arm straight, try not to bend the elbow. And we'll do this 7 or 8 times, peeling up and setting back down, peeling up, setting back down. Your thumb will come up with your palm, totally fine. Try to keep the base of the other fingers attached to the mat. Good, and elbows straight, that's really key, elbows straight. Excellent. And then I'm going to have you flip your right hand palm up and turn the fingers so they point towards the center of your sticky mat. You're going to lean a little to the left. Again, keep your arms straight and the back of your right hand on the mat, leaning to the left. Good. And then let's change sides. Bring your right palm to the mat again. Flip your left hand up. Good. And a gentle lean to the right. Good. Left hand to the floor, please. I want you to find the cow of cat-cow. So arching low back, middle back, upper back on the inhale. You'll drop your hips to your heels for child's pose on the exhale. Good, long side waist, long spine. And so you're ready on the next breath in to pull yourself forward to staff pose. Staff or plank, shoulders over wrists. And then downward dog on the exhale. Great, that's our flow. We'll do that 2 more times. Finding the floor with the knees on the in-breath, arching, starting with the tailbone and arching low back, middle back, upper back. And then gently sinking into balasana on the exhale. Spilling the breath out. And coming forward into the strength of staff pose, Adho Mukha Dandasana. And then hinging at your hips, taking the femurs back into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Uno más, por favor. One more time, please. We'll all meet in downward dog. Okie dokie. I'm going to have you step your right foot forward. You're going to take your left heel down and give yourself a quarter turn to the left. So you're in this wide-legged forward bend. We're prepped for Skandasana, these lateral lunges. I want you to sink into your left knee, left hip. You can keep fingertips to the floor or place your hands on your block. And then glide through center so that you flex as deeply as your body appreciates into your right knee, right hip. And we're going to do that 3 more times for a total of 4. Good. Now, if you'll keep your feet glued to the mat, and even the straight leg foot, hug the sticky mat with all 4 corners of that straight leg foot. We'll be waking up the adductors. Hamstrings are certainly involved, but this will emphasize the adductors, the inner thigh muscles. Good. And just taking your time, being languid. Slowing down the winds of vata and gently coaxing some heat into the chill of kapha. So once you've done that 4 times, and I don't want anybody to rush, when you come into your right knee, right hip on that 4th time, I'm going to have you stay here for 2 or 3 breaths. Keep that left leg active. And then spin your right toes to the top of the mat. Turn your left toes in just a little more so they're about 45 degrees. This would be your setup if you were coming into warrior 2 or side angle pose. But what I'm going to have you do is stay in this low action through your right leg, right hip. Bring your left fingertips to the floor, just to the outside of your mat. And with your right hand, start to walk your right fingertips up beyond the left corner of your mat. So what we're going for here is a big side stretch through the right ribs. As your right hand walks off your mat, way off your mat, pull your right knee back to the right. So opposite directions, right knee going to the right. That looks great, Maxine. Good. Reach right hand off to the left. Big stretch through the left arm. Ooh. There's even a bit of an arc to the spine. Terrific. Good. Let's migrate our way to the center, both hands to the mat. Come onto the ball of your back foot and settle your left knee down to the floor. Bring both hands to the inside of your right foot so you can walk your right foot to the right a step or 2. And we'll pause here. I'd like you to squeeze your right knee into your right arm around the tricep region and push back with your right arm. Good. Squeeze and push, squeeze and push, squeeze and push. Fingertips can be to the floor, or you can set your hands on your block. All right, now we're going to twist it up just a little bit. Spin your right toes to the right, about 45 degrees. Right hand to the right knee. And here's door number 1. Roll your right shoulder back, turn your ribs and sternum to the right, and look to the right. Door number 2 would be to kick your left heel up behind you. Reach back, either lasso your left foot with your strap, or grab your left foot with your right hand. Choose the method that feels the best in your body. If you're a foot grabber, I will invite you to take the outer edge of that back foot so that you find that opening through the front of your right shoulders, in front of your right shoulder, the deltoids, the pectoralis muscles, and find that external rotation in the right arm. Good. Good. And as you take your right shoulder back, turn your left shoulder back a little. Maybe take your head back. Make it sassy. Terrific. Release your foot if you've got it, your strap if you've got it. Bring your hands to the floor, both hands to the floor. Turn your right toes forward and we'll very gently step back to downward facing dog. Very cautiously. Mm, mm. Good. Let's take the left foot forward. And we're going to start with those side lunges again. So the left foot steps forward, the right heel spins down, and then you make a quarter turn to the right and just keep going so that you bend into that right knee, right hip. Slowly migrate your way across the center, coming into the left knee, left hip. Good. 4 times total. And remember not to rush, just so you know what's coming. On your 4th one, you're going to land in your left knee, left hip, and pause there for a couple of breaths. And I like to take my left elbow and kind of push it into my inner knee a little bit. Great. And then we can migrate the hands towards the top of the mat, turn the left toes forward. And we're ready for that side stretch through the left flank. Reach your left hand off to the right. Reach to the right and a little up. And at the same time, use the power of your left leg, the power of your left leg muscles to pull the left knee back. Maybe even drawing the outer left hip, take the buttock back. Outer left hip shears back. Good, and all the while, keep your right leg active. Good, let's take one more breath. Nice. Good, and then you can slowly bring both hands back to the mat. Come to the ball of the right foot, bring the right knee down. Slow, soft landing. Take your left foot to the left slightly so you have room to bring both hands to the inside of your left foot. This is where a block comes into play beautifully. Hands to the block. Good, we'll take one more breath in the low lunge. Now you can turn your left toes to the left about 45 degrees. You can place a block underneath your right hand and bring your left hand to your left knee. So remember, this is option A. Just roll your left shoulder back, find that sweet twist, turning ribs and sternum to the left. Option B, kick your right foot up, reach back and lasso that baby with your strap, or grab it with your hand. Terrific. Good. Let go of your strap or your foot. Great. Both hands to the floor. Take your time coming out of this. You got a twist going on. You got an extension going on. You got all kinds of things happening there. Make your way into downward dog. Ooh. Great. Now, you can either stay put in downward dog. You can come down to your knees for child's pose, gather your breath, and just kind of like chill for a few breaths. Or if you want to glide forward to staff, go for it. From staff, You would then come all the way down to the mat. From there, find the spinal extension of your choice, maybe a low cobra, maybe a locust pose. If upward dog is part of your scene and your body feels good with that, go for it. Good. Maybe even Sphinx pose works for you with the forearms down on the mat. And then we'll all meet again in downward facing dog. Beautiful. From downward facing dog, I'd like you to walk your feet to your hands, 1 foot at a time, slowly walking. Make this a moving meditation. Heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe. Good. And then once you're at the top of your sticky mat, grab your block, please. Take your block between your thighs, long ways. Okay, and we're gonna come into Utkatasana. Bending at the knees, hinging at the hips, just taking the arms forward, not really concerned how high the arms go. Emphasis here is squeezing that block. Good, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Hug, hug, hug. Wake up the inner thighs. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Let's take one more breath. On the exhale, slowly hinge forward, bring your hands behind your back, clasping your fingers together, take your knuckles up and overhead. And then release your fingers to the floor, set your block down. I'm gonna have you take your right foot back, bring your right knee down, and then we're gonna pause for just a second so we can line this up. I know that some of you are gonna take your right foot way, way back, but I'm gonna have you step forward. What I'm looking for is a shorter stance. So the right knee is directly underneath the right hip. Okay, it's much shorter. Once you get yourself set up and with these 90-degree angles, then bring your block up to your chest between your hands. Good. And as you inhale, I want you to take the block up overhead and lift your right knee about 1 inch off the mat. And when you exhale, straighten both legs, bring the block to your chest. Oh yeah, a couple more times, please. Inhale, bend both knees, right knee hovers right above the mat. Hover, hover, hover. Exhale, straighten legs, block to chest. Great, 2 more times. Inhale, sink into the knees, hover that right knee. Hover, hover, hover. Exhale, straighten legs, block to chest. Good. 1 more time. Inhale, sink. Good. And exhale, straighten. Ooh, 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 ooh. Good. Bend both knees so you can set the block down to the mat. Step back to downward facing dog. From downward dog, come to your knees, please, for bird dog or spinal balancing. We'll start by taking the right leg back, setting yourself up. Hips are square, pelvis is stable. If it feels good for you, take your left arm forward. Great. If this feels good for you, take your left arm out to the left, palm facing the floor, and sweep your right leg out to the right. Good. Push away through your right heel and lift your hip, lift your leg, rather. Good. Leg up, arm up. Kind of like an awkward, I don't know what this is, awkward bird dog. And then sweep everything back down the center line, please. Good. And then touch the floor, knee down, hand down, downward dog. Beautiful. Float your right leg up and step your right foot forward. Good. You can stay off the left knee. I'm just going to have you pause here, take a breath in and look forward. And then gently step your left foot forward. Good. Walk your feet up to the top of your sticky mat. Take your time. Good. Slide the block between your thighs. Utkatasana, bending the knees, sinking the hips. Draw the belly in and just squeeze that block. On the next exhale, straighten the legs, fold forward, bringing your hands behind your back, taking your knuckles up and over your head. Fingertips land on the floor. Set your block to the side. And you'll step your left foot back, bringing your left knee down. And remember, we want to take a shorter stance, finding the 90-degree angle in the joints. Once you've got that short stance, take your block up overhead, elevating the left knee on the inhale, straightening both legs, bringing the block to your chest on the exhale. 3 more times, breathing in, hover, breathing out. Good. Inhale, hover the knee right above the floor. Beautiful. Exhale. Awesome. One more time. Yeah, nice. And then straighten legs. Terrific. And bend your knees, set your block to the floor, stepping back to downward dog. And here we go. Right into bird dog on the other side. Move your hips around if you'd like, and then settle your knees to the floor. Left leg will float back and up. Well, just back. Up in that the heel lines up with your sitting bone. Not too high. If you feel good with this, try taking the right arm forward. Good. Belly firm, don't over-exaggerate the arch in the lumbar spine. Great. And if you feel good with this and you want to add some spice, Chalula, take the right arm to the right and the left leg to the left. Good. And you really got to use those outer hip muscles. Lift that left leg. Nice. Leg up, arm up. Outstanding, everyone. Good. Move your jaw. Arm forward, leg back. And then hands and knees to the floor. Beautiful. Downward facing dog. Float your left heel up. And quietly step your left foot forward. Good. Take a pause here. Wait for the in-breath. And when it shows up for you, look forward. And then gently step your right foot forward next to your left. Good. Bring your hands to your waist. And slowly lift yourself all the way up. Good. Bring your arms down by your sides. And pick up your block. And because of the shape of my space, I'm going to face the long edge of the mat. You are welcome to continue facing the top of your mat if you have plenty of space to the side. Coming into lateral leg lifts now, standing. We did this on our back at the beginning of practice. We just did this on hands and knees in bird dog. So now we're going to take it up another notch. Have your block on its tallest height. And then hinge forward at your hip crease so that your back can be fairly straight and strong. You'll probably be a little lower than parallel to the floor, just in the effort to get the hands to the block, and that's fine. But we want to avoid a round or a scrunch. Okay, here we go. Feet side by side. You're going to shift your weight into your left foot, left leg, and float your right leg out to the right. That's the inhale. Bring the right leg back to center as you exhale, but don't touch the floor. 3 more times. Inhale, float up and out. You got it. And exhale down. Good. Twice more. Float out and up. And exhale. One more time. Out and up. And exhale. Good. Stepping down, wag your tail, move your hips. So if you choose to practice this again later in the week, this is really nice to do with 2 blocks. But I know not everybody has access to that. So that's why we just did 1 block today. But if you've got to, go for it. Good. And then have the block set up about shoulder width apart. So then here we go. Shift your weight into your right leg, left leg lifts, lateral left leg lifts. And down 4 times, please. Good. And up and down. Great. Keep the leg moving directly out to the side. Awesome, Ace. Great. Everybody looks good. That's nice. 1 more time. Terrific. And when you finish that 4th round, you can move your hips. Okay, we're gonna do one more thing. At this point, I'm gonna have you slide your block to the left of your left foot. Keep your left hand to the block, but maybe it's about 8 inches, 6 inches in front of your left pinky toe and a little to the left. You're gonna wrap your peace fingers of your right hand around your right big toe. Shift your weight into your left leg. And then using your right hand to lift you up, you're gonna take your right leg out to the right. Good, push through your right heel, the instep of the heel in particular. Good, push out, push out, push out, lift up, push out, lift up. Do the best you can. Good, push out, lift up. Keep the leg elevated and then set down. Great, release your foot. Beautiful. Move your hips. Good, well done, everybody. Take your block over to the right hand on the block. Wrap your left peace fingers around your left big toe. Weight shifts into your right leg, and when you're ready, inhale, take your left leg out to the left and hold it right there. Yeah, good. Breathing in, breathing out. Good. Lift up. Lift up and push away. Lift up and push away. And step down, release your foot. Excellent, good. Well done. Bring your block between your thighs. And let's take Utkatasana 1 more time. Sinking into the knees, lowering the hips, breathing in and hugging that block, breathing out. Spread your toes. Relax your jaw. 1 more breath, please. Exhale, stand up slow and straight. Remove the block. Terrific, everybody. Have a seat on your bum. Coming down onto the mat. You'll take your right leg forward. And then a little to the left, just a little off the midline to the left. Bending your left knee, pick your left foot up and take it over your right leg. And then take a hold of your left ankle with your right hand and draw your left ankle and heel back towards your right hip. So you've got your left knee bent and you're ultimately aiming to stack it on top of your right knee. So we're in half cow face pose in the legs, okay? You might already be feeling a little action in your outer left hip. Left fingertips to the floor. I want you to lift your right arm straight up and then give yourself a little side bend to the left. Rise up, please. And now you'll bring your right hand to your left knee and just a gentle twist to the left. Left fingertips can make their way slightly behind you on the mat. Good, unwind. Now you'll take both arms up. Use an inhalation, anchor into the sitting bones, lift through your side ribs, arms up, long and strong through the belly, fold forward, and bring your hands wherever they're gonna land. That might be at your knee, your right calf or shins, maybe the ankle, maybe the foot, and come forward. And now maybe your outer right hip is letting you know it's wide awake. This is also an excellent opportunity to loop a strap around the ball of your right foot. See that you're still evenly glued to the mat through both sitting bones and not elevating or favoring one over the other. Slowly walk your hands up either side of your right leg until you're sitting tall. Take your left hand to the outside of your left knee, lift your knee, uncross it, and take your left leg down onto your mat. Good. Pull your right knee up. And now you've got room to take your left leg slightly to the right, just a little off center. Cross your right foot over your left leg, and then a deep bend in that right knee. So stacking it over the left knee as close as it works for you. Right fingertips come to the floor just to beyond your right hip. Left arm moves straight up. And you'll side bend over to the right. Rise up to vertical. And now we'll twist to the right. Left hand to your right knee. Right fingertips walk behind you an inch or two or three. Roll your ribs to the right. Turn your sternum to the right. I like to then turn my head to the left and look out towards my left toes. You do what feels best on your neck and shoulders. Let's unwind, face center once more. Drop into the sitting bones, readjust your right knee if you need to, flexing the left foot. Let's take the arms up, breathing in, anchoring through the lower body, lifting through the upper body, and then here we go, hinging forward as you exhale, reaching the hands out over the left leg, and then stopping where the body says that's enough. And just notice, is the stretch in this leg in the same place as it was in the previous leg, or is it different? Where is it on this side? And we don't ask ourselves those questions out of judgment or to get all spun out into any, subconscious gossip or stories about why we are the way we are, or what happened when we were 10 and, fell off of a motorcycle or a horse or whatever. I mean, all that's interesting, but for our purposes right now, it's just to explore the sensation or sensations with a sense of being curious and open, being interested. And maybe making a mental post-it note out of it so that when you do this sequence again, or this particular stretch again, notice if it's any different the next time. What's shifted? What's changed? Walk your hands up the length of your left leg. Holy smokes. With your right hand at your right knee, pick your right knee up, and then you can step your foot over your left leg. Stretch both legs down onto your sticky mat. Bring your hands to your knees and give your knees a little massage. Circle massage a couple times in one way, the other way. Great. Bend your knees and set your feet to the floor about 6 inches apart, maybe sitting bone distance apart. Bring your hands behind your back for reverse tabletop or Purdhottanasana. Now, classic variation, classically, this is taught with the fingers pointing towards your bum. I find that to be hard on the wrist. And, people weren't really on their machines as much as we are, on their computers and equipment as much as we are at all, actually, 100 years ago. So turn your hands in the way that's best on your wrist. Press into the four corners of your feet. On an inhale, lift your hips, look to your knees. If your neck feels okay with it, you can take your head back slightly and look to the ceiling. I want you to find the base of your big toes. Press down through your big toes. Good. Hips up, chest up. Hips up, chest up. Beautiful. And then slowly bring your bum back to the mat. Draw the insteps of your feet together. Let your knees drop apart from one another for Baddha Konasana. We're going to take about 20-30 more seconds in this shape. If you want to bend forward, you are welcome to do so. Otherwise, remain upright with a long, tall spine. Good. Placing your hands to the outside of your knees, pull your knees up. And I'm going to have you come onto your hands and knees. One more thing before we close this out. Hands and knees, please. Bring your knees together and your big toes and ankles together behind you. Tuck your toes under, as though you were going to take downward dog, right? Toes tucked under. But then I'm just going to have you rock back slowly, bringing your hips to your heels for broken toe pose. Keep your knees down and either keep your fingertips to the floor or bring your hands up to your thighs. If at any time you need to hit the eject button, do it. Terrific. Let's bring the hands to the floor. Relax your feet to the mat. And then we're ready for Shavasana. So since we started on our back and spent so much time in the supine shape, if you want to remain seated and explore the next 6 or 7 minutes in a meditation, please do. You might want to take your legs up the wall. That's great. Or go down onto your back, coming into the classic Shava. One of my old teachers used to say, shove off into Shavasana. It's like, okay. I think I like it, but I'm not sure. Great, I'll keep tabs on the time. We'll take a good 7 minutes. And as we began, we'll move through the first 3 layers of the koshas, the Annamaya kosha first, just exploring your body as it takes rest, either sitting or lying down. Observing the parts and pieces of you that are in touch with the floor. Encouraging your bones to be heavy and muscles to be soft. And next, we'll take a look at the breath. Exploring, riding along the wave of the pattern of the inhalation and the exhalation. Maybe even noticing how as the body relaxes and softens, the breath also softens up, maybe even lightens up. Allow the breath to be subtle, if that's where it wants to go. And then finally moving from the pranamaya kosha into the mind, the manomaya kosha. And just simply turning on the weather channel, what's happening upstairs. What's the chatter? How is the chatter? If there's chatter. And then allowing your awareness to drop from your mind down towards your chest, just moving into your heart. And becoming attuned to your heartbeat, your pulse, your rhythm. And simply resting. And begin to deepen your breath. Move your fingers, move your toes. Bringing your awareness and attention back into the room, into your space, and to the present moment. And as you feel ready, make your way to a sitting position. If you want to remain in Shavasana for another 5 or 10 or 15 minutes, of course, please do. We're working our way through the Maha Mrityunjaya mantra. And we've picked off the first 3 lines. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urdvarukamiva Bandhanan. So the last line, Mrityur Mukshya Mamritat. Mrityur Mukshya Mamritat. So, let's give it a go, shall we? I mean, why not? We'll go slow and we'll do it 3 times and we'll take all 4 lines. The 4th line, I haven't told you this, goes Mrityor Mukshya Mamritat. Mrityor Mukshya Mamritat. Everything kind of melds together. Mrityor Mukshya Mamritat. It'll all make sense. Or it won't. Okay. All right, here we go. Join in if you'd like. Bring your palms together. Take a breath in. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhin Pushti Vardhanam Urdvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshya Mamritat. I know it's a mouthful. Let's do it again. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urdvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshya Mamritat. One more time. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urdvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshya Mamritat. Awesome. With 2 palms together, take the base of your thumbs to your forehead. Balanced and strong in our minds. Bring your fingertips down towards your lips, balanced and strong in our breath as well as in our expression and communication. And place your hands to your heart, balanced and strong in our spirit. Thank you so much for joining me, and to those of you who are catching the replay, I hope you enjoy the class and the sequence. Great to see you all on this Sunday morning.